Hello, and today we are discussing reality. And what is your reality? What is my reality? And what is the true reality? Or is there a true reality? So, what is your reality? What is the world that you live in? So, in order to determine that, and in order to determine reality, you have to determine what your belief system is. What is your belief system? What things do you align yourself with? What ideas do you agree with? What ideas do you not agree with? That is what your reality is. And the thing is, we all live in our own reality. Each and every one of us, our reality is what we experience, what we go through, our belief system. So, even if my belief system is the complete opposite of yours, both of us are living in the reality of what we believe, of what our experience is. But does that make it true or does that make it false? What happens then when our very reality is the complete opposite of what we initially thought? All the information that had been given to us, that we learned, what if that was not true at all? What if it was the complete opposite? Well, that may be very hard to comprehend. That may be very disappointing for some people to comprehend, to imagine that life is more or less than what you initially thought. For example, if you believe in an afterlife, if you believe in religion or God, yet if that very thing does not actually exist, how do you shape your belief system? Or vice versa. If you are an atheist, if you don't believe that there is anything else out there, if you think this world is mostly just physical, and we die, we born and we die, that's it, nothing more, then what happens then to your belief system when it is the complete opposite of that as well? Well, the answers to these questions are personal belief. So, what I believe, it may not be what you believe. And what you believe, it may not be what I believe. So my reality is what's real to me. And your reality is what's real to you. So, we cannot change each other's reality. And if you ever look at the effort so many people try to go to prove each other wrong, then we end up losing what the whole point of a conversation, what the whole purpose why we are here to begin with. We are here to learn and grow. We are here to expand our minds, not limit our perspective. And when we limit our perspective to these things that we do not know, then what happens is we become frustrated, we become angry, we begin to think differently than what we initially thought and hold even tighter to those beliefs and begin to think everyone else is wrong. I am the only one that is right. Here is how I am right. A, B, C. You list all these different things together to prove that we are right. When the only thing, when you know you're right, it only shows just how far away you are from the truth. So in order to actually comprehend and understand things better, we have to open our mind to the world that we reside in. So, from the perspective that I have viewed the world from, it's very focused on, let's back up for just a moment. So, if we have A and B, okay, and I've mentioned this before at some point to some people, we have to take in consideration what is A and B, what differentiates A and B, and how are they different. And when you reside in A and you're just thinking from A, you don't see B. You don't see B as valid. B is not valid to you because you reside in A and it's closed. You reside in here and you can't think outside. But what happens then when you open it up and you begin to think outside? You begin to think from both sides. You can still reside A, but still think about B. or the other way around, if you reside in B and then think of A. So, of course, now, to many of you that this may not make much sense. I may be being a bit convoluted with my examples, which is designed. I'm not going to reveal too much information at this time on these things, but it will become clear in time. But I'm sure some of you can figure this out and pinpoint it. It's A and B is not just opinion, an A and B opinion. It goes much, much further than that. But I will keep it simple for right now. So, when we come from this A and B perspective, we only know A or B. We do not expand ourselves into this other acknowledgement. So, if A is focused on one trait and B is focused on another trait, but the same end goal for each of them, how can that work out exactly? So, let's simplify that. You have two people with different intentions, different ways of thinking, completely different belief systems, heading towards the same exact goal. They do it completely differently. But the end goal is still exactly the same, but the results that come of it are completely different. Like, for example, if you have someone designing something for you, you have designer A and designer B. They designed something. You ask them to design something. They design it, but they design it completely differently from one another, but they still design it. The end goal is the design, not how the design was done, or the means necessary to get it done, or even just how the end result was, but just that they did design it. So that is what we're referring to here in regard to this. So with A and B, from the perspective that I have viewed it as, is let's say this is A. This is A here. Everything is A here. And it's very focused on the physical aspects of life. Everything is physical. Everything is tactile. You can touch and feel and breathe and see and hear. Everything is physical. And because of that, many individuals focus on just the physical aspects of life. They only see the physical of life. They do not see anything else. So, this can result in the materialistic nature that many people have, and technology plays a very big part in this as well. Technology is intended to distract people from everything that's not just physical. But now, of course, virtual reality, well, that's not physical, but it's a physical representation. It's a virtual representation of the physical world, is essentially what it is. So, from there, many people, as I mentioned, are very blinded by this physical. And there are many physical traits that people may have that they seem to be blinded by, such as greed, power, money. These are all A problems. These are all problems that reside because of the physical nature of things. You want power, you want to rise above, you want to be better than everyone else. You're greedy. You want that power for yourself, you want the money for yourself, you want to have everyone under your control, which is exactly how this world operates. It's about people in power at the top, and then everyone else that follows suit underneath who must obey. But that's the whole thing. When you obey, you're not taught these other ideas that shape a different perspective, that shape a different reality, that may make you more aware of what is going on and why things are the way that they are. And this is the intended outcome that is supposed to happen, so people do not question anything. People do not open up. People do not see different perspectives than what they've been taught. And the ultimate goal is so people don't question anything. When you don't question anything, then how can you possibly ever achieve any kind of proper debate or proper conclusion based on something? So if you just assume what your ideas are based on information that you've gathered from other sources, even online, in books, or any sort of data that you gather from various sources, if you don't necessarily form an opinion, but if you just say, this is true, this is what I believe, versus actually thinking it through and thinking from different perspectives, then is that really your own ideas? Is that really your own thoughts? Or have you been conditioned into believing these ideas that you are intended to believe? Have you been brainwashed into believing these ideas that the people in power want you to believe? And it goes much, much deeper than that. I'm just keeping it simple for now, but I'm sure many of you understand exactly what I am talking about here. So, when we come from a perspective that is limited, that is the ultimate thing. You can have whatever ideas and beliefs that you want, and you can share them. But ultimately, whatever side you are on, A or B, your perspective is the ultimate thing. How much do you question? How much do you learn? How much do you actually think outside the box instead of just believing whatever you are told? Are you gullible? Because if you are gullible, that is one of the biggest signs that you are part of this brainwashing, whether it be on either side, because it's on both sides. But since we reside in A, the major brainwashing is a perspective brainwashing. That is the majority. That is what the popular thing is. So because of that, people can't think outside. People rely on all the evidence and data and everything else that proves that their theories are right. Yet, the world is always changing. The world is always growing. People are always having different experiences. So there's nothing that's ever set. Even if some kind of scientific study, for example, can be proven 100% of the time, that doesn't mean it's always 100% of the time for every individual. There are always exceptions. And many people dismiss that as a coincidence, as very, very rare, as many, many other things. So, the main message I'm trying to get across here is to not be so blinded by all these physical aspects of this world. That is what's intended to distract you from everything else that's equally as important. Everything else about your existence that is equally as important as just the physical. But if you have 5 different aspects and you're only coming from one perspective of physical and you're putting everything from that physical, then you're missing all the other aspects that make up you and who you are and your own belief system. And you're shaping your belief system into thinking just from one perspective and not thinking outside the box, not thinking from all these different aspects of yourself together. When you awaken all that and you think things through and you put everything together as one, then so much more about the world makes sense, and you can form your own opinions, and you can think outside the box, and you can learn to think for yourself and not be so gullible. So that is my message for you today, to think for yourself, to think outside the box, to question the very world and reality that you live in, to always question, even if you know you have an answer 100%. That is not possible, that is not plausible. So keep questioning it, keep thinking of it. You can say, I think this might be this, I think it might be that. You may have an idea solid in your mind, but you should always keep it flexible so you know that whenever any new information comes in, you can go, interesting, let me think that through. Let me look at that information and then determine what is appropriate for you. Okay? So, I hope you enjoyed this information. There will be much more information like this at some point in the future. There is much more to talk about this. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, and I will talk to you all later, and I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Okay? Bye-bye.